Have you ever seen one small accident change the fate of two people forever? Stay till the end of this story, because what this billionaire CEO said after a single dad waiter spilled wine on her left everyone in shock. And if you love powerful stories of struggle, second chances, and destiny, make sure to like this video right now and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories like this. James had always lived his life carefully, quietly, and humbly. At 32 years old, he was already carrying the weight of responsibilities most men twice his age struggled to bear. He wasn't just a waiter at a luxury five-star restaurant, he was also a single father to his little daughter, Emily, who was just 6 years old. Life hadn't been kind to James. His wife had left him when Emily was only a baby, unable to handle the struggles of raising a child while bills piled up and dreams slipped away. Since then, James had been both mother and father, working late shifts at the restaurant while also making sure Emily had a warm smile to greet her every morning. That particular evening felt heavier than most. The restaurant buzzed with life, gold chandeliers glowing softly above, violins playing in the corner, and the scent of freshly baked bread and roasted duck wafting through the air. But the most important detail wasn't the food or the music. It was the guest who had reserved the VIP corner, Victoria Hale, the billionaire CEO of Hale Industries, a woman whose name appeared in magazines, news articles, and financial reports across the globe. Known for her sharp mind, commanding presence, and icy demeanor, Victoria was not someone to upset. James had been assigned to serve her table personally. His manager had pulled him aside earlier that evening with a nervous whisper, "Do not make a single mistake. This woman could change the entire future of our restaurant with one word." James, already tired and distracted by worries of Emily's school fees and her upcoming doctor's appointment, nodded. He tightened his black vest, smoothed his white shirt, and whispered to himself, "Don't mess this up. For Emily's sake, don't mess this up." Victoria arrived with an aura that silenced the room. She was in her early 40s, elegant in a navy blue dress that shimmered under the lights. Her dark hair was pulled into a sleek bun, her makeup sharp yet understated, her expression unreadable. Every movement she made radiated control. The few guests who dared glance her way quickly lowered their eyes in respect. James approached her table, heart pounding as though he were about to face judgment itself. He greeted her politely, his voice steady though his palms sweated. "Good evening, ma'am. May I recommend our house special wine to begin with?" Victoria gave him a simple nod, her piercing eyes briefly studying him. That brief look felt like it stripped away his entire soul. He hurried away to bring the bottle, whispering a silent prayer. But fate often has cruel timing. As James returned with the bottle of fine red wine, carefully balanced on a silver tray, the unexpected happened. Just as he reached Victoria's table, a child from another family dining nearby darted across the aisle chasing a balloon. James swerved instinctively, and in that split second, the tray tilted, the wine bottle slipped, and the deep crimson liquid spilled across the billionaire's elegant navy dress. Time froze. The gasps of guests filled the air. The violinist's bow screeched on his string. James stood frozen in horror, the empty tray trembling in his hands, his throat tightening. "Oh no, ma'am, I am so sorry," James stammered, his voice breaking. He pulled out his handkerchief, though he knew it was useless. His entire world collapsed in that instant. He pictured losing his job, not being able to pay rent, Emily crying because her father had failed again. He imagined his boss firing him on the spot. Victoria slowly looked down at the stain spreading across her expensive dress. Everyone leaned forward, waiting for the explosion, for the fury that would come from the woman known for never tolerating mistakes. James dropped to his knees, trying desperately to dab the stain. His hands shook so badly he could barely move. "Please, ma'am, I didn't mean to. I can replace your dress, I'll pay for dry cleaning. Please don't let this ruin everything." His voice cracked with raw desperation. He wasn't begging just for his job, he was begging for his daughter's future. But then, silence stretched longer than expected. Victoria didn't shout. She didn't demand the manager. Instead, she tilted her head, studying James closely. Her eyes softened just slightly. And then, in a voice calm yet filled with something no one expected, she said the words that stunned every guest in the restaurant. "Tell me, are you always this nervous, or are you carrying something heavier than a tray?" Gasps filled the room again. James froze, unable to understand. This was not anger, this was not fury, this was curiosity. And in that single moment, James realized his life was about to change. The room was still. Everyone seemed to hold their breath, waiting for what would come next. James, still kneeling with trembling hands, slowly looked up at the billionaire. Her gaze was not cold anymore. It was sharp, yes, but also probing. almost as if she were trying to see into his soul. James stuttered, unable to find words. He had expected insults, dismissal, maybe even security being called to escort him out. But this question? It pierced straight through his defenses. I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't mean— Answer me, Victoria interrupted, not unkindly. What is it you're carrying? James swallowed hard. He felt the eyes of the entire restaurant pressing on him, waiting. For a moment he wanted to lie, to say nothing, to just accept punishment quietly. But then he thought of Emily. He thought of her sleeping soundly at home, hugging the old teddy bear he had stitched for her himself. He thought of her laughter, her innocence, her need for a father who would fight for her no matter what. He took a shaky breath. I'm a single father, he admitted, his voice low but steady. My daughter is 6. Her mother left when she was a baby. I work double shifts to make sure she has everything she needs. I'm sorry I ruined your dress. I was just trying to do my job well enough to keep this roof over her head. Silence again. Then, to everyone's utter astonishment, Victoria did not scold him. Instead, she leaned back in her chair, her lips curving into the faintest, almost unnoticeable smile. Now that, she said softly, is a story worth hearing. James blinked, completely lost. Ma'am? Victoria waved off the hovering manager, who had been rushing forward in panic. Oh, leave him. I want him to stay. Then she turned back to James. Sit. Not as my waiter, as yourself. Gasps and murmurs rippled across the restaurant. A billionaire CEO asking a waiter to sit with her? It was unheard of. James hesitated, glancing at his boss, but one stern nod from Victoria silenced any objection. Slowly, nervously, James took the chair across from her. For the next hour, something magical unfolded. James told her about Emily, about the late nights and early mornings, about patching shoes and saving pennies, about how he read bedtime stories even when his body ached from work. Victoria listened, truly listened, in a way no one had ever listened to him before. And when she spoke, her words carried an unexpected gentleness. She confessed that despite her billions, she had never known the warmth of a family. She had built empires but lost her marriage in the process. She admired James, not for wealth but for strength, the kind of strength that came from sacrifice. By the end of the night, the wine stain on her dress was forgotten. What lingered instead was a bond that no one in the restaurant could explain. Victoria left with one final sentence that made every guest whisper in disbelief. To Mr. James, tomorrow, I want you to bring your daughter to my office. I think I may have just found someone I trust more than half the executives in my company. James sat frozen long after she was gone, the weight of her words echoing in his chest. A mistake that should have ended his career had instead opened a door to a future brighter than he had ever dreamed. And that's why they say, sometimes, accidents aren't accidents at all. They're destiny in disguise. And if this story touched your heart the way it touched mine, don't forget to like this video right now and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another powerful story of hope, struggle, and second chances.